Welcome to Nightcap. I'm doing remote again, but I do have something to say. If you don't know, my name's Nate Bomberger. This is Nightcap, brought to you by Smashing the Party. I am remote. I'm not in my studio, my office. I'm over at a friend's house, but I wanted to talk a little bit about kind of what I've been noticing. And I'm not going to be long tonight because I'm not in my office. Uh, but as I'm kind of going through my daily routine of kind of trying to figure out what's going on, what to talk about, what's interesting. I'm starting to see a pattern that's kind of scary, and that is this replication of these laws across states, and they're trying it in different ways. They're using the state legislator to kind of seal some of these things into law in the states. That includes the voter kind of oppressive laws that are being passed all over the country, but even these laws that are this they're starting to kind of frame this grooming concept across different states. They're talking about these anti-grooming laws, which are really attacking parents, allowing their children to kind of find their identity, and has all this it's all this whole kind of fight to set up the midterms for this wedge issue of the transgender kind of rights that's going on right now. And it's fucked up because as I'm looking to see what I want to talk about, I'm seeing these laws that are just being kind of replicated across different states. In some news, in Colorado, they just put it into law about abortion. So abortion is now law, that it's legal. So that's a good thing. But most of the time, you're seeing these laws that are coming down on people's rights. That's actually giving people rights. Framing the abortion law is something that however you want to frame it, allowing people to have safe and legal abortions is a right. It's somebody's autonomy. It's a woman's autonomy. So it to me, when you're writing legislation that's restricting somebody's ability to be who they are just because you don't believe, you believe your way is the right way, it just seems so restrictive. And so the party of personal responsibility is kind of laying out this foundation across the country to have this if you support anything but their view, then you're pro grooming. And so they've kind of labeled this whole thing with this kind of pedophiliac, sounding term. It's a term that's used for, people grooming people for sex. And so it's kind of a weird thing that's happening. And you're seeing that across these states. And that's their attack on this transgender, any kind of education that surrounds talking about people's identity or where they are, and even in in a scholastic term, even in sex education, not talking about the spectrum that might exist. So it's kind of weird, and that's scary because I think Republicans are better at doing that. I think they're better at kind of replicating these laws, using the state legislature to kind of seal these things at the local level, and then kind of get a movement going on. And so, that's something where it bothers me that if you look at how the state legislatures are run across the country, Republicans control a lot of them. And so you're seeing this stuff happen where even this Texas law with abortion, where they deputize people to essentially go out and figure out whether or not somebody's violating the state law. You now have this going across different states. So it's getting to the point where people aren't paying attention at they're not paying attention to their local elections. They're thinking it's not their guy. But if you look at how these states are implementing these laws, it makes it difficult for that kind of stuff to end up in the Supreme Court, where it should be locked down and loaded. I mean, it should be, these rights, you know the party that doesn't want to talk about identity politics keeps kind of coming back to these identity politics and kind of locking it out, and saying this is the way people should be. And when we know the science says that sex is a spectrum. So that's something I wanted to talk about. I don't want to I'm kind of over at a friend's house, so I'm not going to go too long tonight, but I want to say thanks for the support. I'm still getting positive emails. I know I've been a little bit off this week because it's my first week of my job, and I need to kind of focus on learning that what's going on. And I'm kind of getting the swing of things. Also, balance. So I'm not getting back into the old workaholic because I'm trying to balance this. So it's good, But I think, when I don't do it from the studio, I always feel kind of bad. But anyway, I'm happy to talk about it. Look, what's going on is you got to keep track. You got to follow the state legislators that are going, the state legislation that's happening across the country that's being replicated, and really get involved in what's going on at the state level. We're a Republically controlled state legislature, so we deal with some of these same things. I mean, they kind of backed the whole election, reelect, the whole plan to overturn the election. That's in Pennsylvania. So these kind of things that happen in the state when there's this fear campaign for the midterms, and they replicate this across these different states, and they kind of write it into law, it becomes a wedge issue that now, it's pretty crazy how that motivates people once you start kind of putting an us versus they concept out there. And now people have something to rival, they can claim religious whatever. But this whole banning of books, it's all this fear and kind of this kind of forced way of thinking that's imparted on people that really fucks shit up. And that's something we got to watch. So that's what I'm observing at a meta level. I didn't get too detailed today. There's a lot of shit going on. Economy's doing decent, but we have inflation, all this shit. Still not thrilled with Joe Biden, but we can talk about another time. Um, Last but not least, I will be back on tomorrow at 10:30. This is my last week. I'll take a week off. And I need that week off. It'll be good for me to kind of get kind of rebalanced and kind of figure out some of the things that I wanted to lay out for this year. And also, I've got some ideas that are coming up. There's some folks that are at my new co-working spot that are interested in talking about some serious issues. So I think that's something that's going to come to fruition shortly, where I can actually interview people, because that seems to be fun and most people are doing that stuff. So anyway, that's all I got for tonight. Thanks for checking in. I will be back tomorrow at 10:30 in the studio, ready to roll out the week and the series, and then I'll be back after a week off, and we'll get fired up again. And like I said, the after hours show, a lot of stuff's down the pike, but I'm trying to figure out that right balance so I can continue to put out good stuff and talk about things you guys give a fuck about. So anyway, that's all I got for tonight. Thanks for checking in. I will see you guys tomorrow at 10:30. Peace. Make sure you like, share, comment, tell me you look tired, blah, 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 whatever. Hate on it, whatever. Do it.